Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Tolu Lope Olabinton, Living Spring founder and CEO here in the good city of Mansfield, Texas. Happy Monday. Yay. If you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. And today we're doing another live because we believe here at Living Spring Family Medical Center in helping our patients live long and well. And we have a guest with us today. And the topic we'll be talking about today is, Doc, how can I help my teenager boost their self esteem? And we'll be doing that with a psychiatrist who's here. I'm going to bring her on and we will go ahead. All
Hi,
right.
Dr.
Hi.
Tolu. Good
How are
morning.
you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. We had a great time at the conference.
I agree. I agree. So I was just telling them what the topic was. How can I, Doc, how can I help my teenager boost their self-esteem? So your timing was perfect, but please introduce yourself to our viewers. Who are you and what do you do?
Sure. Thank you for having me. So I'm Dr. Maria Corey. I'm a double board-certified child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist based out of Annapolis, Maryland. I have my own private practice, Elite Excellence Psychiatry, Consulting and Coaching, where I help children and adults with debilitating depression, anxiety, and ADHD really optimize their symptom management, regain their function, and return to joyful living. Through education, personalized medication management, individual therapy, and lifestyle changes.
Whoo, Doc, that's deep. I catch my breath on that one. But I like what you do. Definitely very needed in these times. And I'm excited that we're having conversations, especially for our teenagers, because that's a very delicate stage in itself. And
Definitely.
so I love what you do, and I'm happy we're having this discussion. Now, why do you do what you do? I usually like to ask, because what led to this niche? Like why?
Okay. Well, growing up, I saw my dad, who's been a family physician, and my mom, who's a registered nurse. I've seen how much they've poured out love and care to their patients, not just from a medical perspective, but even establishing relationships and caring for them their whole life, taking care of family members as well. And that was really impactful for me. I knew that I wanted to also be in the medical profession, helping people, forming, close relationships and really making a meaningful difference in people's lives. Now, in terms of psychiatry, I think where I really decided to go into psychiatry was when I was in actually medical school. I did a rotation through a state hospital in North Carolina, and I really got to see firsthand how severe mental illness can be. Prior to that, I had only seen movies or TV shows that kind of depicted, people with severe mental illness in asylums and all. But to see it firsthand and to see that people truly are delusional and, having hallucinations and, have the inclination to harm themselves or other people, and especially seeing the disproportionate amount of people of color that this was affecting, really hit home for me. And so I really wanted to learn as much about it as I could, really try to decrease the stigma of mental illness and seeking out mental health treatment in communities of color, and really helping to educate people about, what mental illness is and how it can affect you. And I think it really helps for people of color to see people that look like them, who can have a shared experience and maybe kind of understand their background a bit to, kind of demystify, what is this about? To let them know that, we're not here to harm you. We're here to educate you, here to help you find the treatment that you need, and to truly, form close bonds and relationships with you so that we can assist you in maintaining your mental health throughout your lifetime.
I love that. And I like, you made a statement, demystify mental health, that, just as your heart is important, your mind, your mental well-being is also very important.
That's so true.
So that's big. Hi, Dr. Una. She's here watching.
Hi, Dr. Una.
And Grace Castradio, thank you for joining us. And Miss Linda, nice to see you as well. All right. So next question. We're talking self-esteem. You have patients and moms who are like, I'm struggling. It was easier when they were kids, but now they're teenagers, and it seems their self-esteem has just. So first, let's talk self-esteem. Doc, what is that?
So self-esteem is really your sense of confidence in yourself, in your worth or your value, and in your abilities.
Your worth, and wow. Okay. That's deep. Sorry. I
And
can
it's
read.
still fun, but you're right, it is deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. And why is that important to boost? I mean,
It's important to boost because, I mean, it affects you in everyday life. If you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to put your best self forward. You're going to miss out on opportunities. I feel like you're going to miss out on your purpose. You're going to miss out on how you can touch and connect with other people. And it really just, it places you in a bubble. You can't be your best. You can't do your best. You can't expand and connect and grow to your full ability. And so it's really important to bolster that in our young people, especially because, what you teach them from young, they'll continue and take with them throughout the rest of their lives.
That is very true. So I have a mom who's watching who's saying, well, Doc, they're already teenagers now. I feel like I missed the boat. What would you say to that mom who's like, I have teenagers now, they seem grown, but I may not have done what I was supposed to do before? What would you say to them as far as how I can help my teenager even at this time?
Right. I would say that it's never too late. It's never too late to start. And there are definitely things that you can do to really help to bolster their sense of self, their sense of their own abilities, and their sense of self-worth that you could do even now that they're teens. I mean, ideally, of course, if we're kind of teaching our kids, who they are and what their abilities are, giving them goals to accomplish, and really talking with them meaningfully about, their experiences and what they've been able to do, it helps from early. But again, it's never too late to start now, and then, move forward in empowering them. And so, yeah, and there's very specific ways that can be done.
All right, so let's go into specifics. I have people taking notes who are like, I'm ready, Doc. I'm ready to write this down.
Absolutely.
So how can we help, Doc? We want tangible, practical steps that we can do. 4 or 5. We're ready.
Sure. Okay. So I have 4 of them planned. So number 1, really instill a strong sense of self and belonging in your child. So for instance, for me and my family, faith is very important to us. So my kids from very early on, I let them know, you're a child of the Most High God. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're made with a purpose, and you're made in His image. And so I think understanding, where you come from, your origin and your place for us spiritually makes a big difference in knowing who you are and having a sense of who you are. You can also say, you're a child of Maria Corey, you're a child of Johnny Corey. So, letting them know who their mother and who their father are, I think is really important, again, to help them to have a very strong sense of self, and maybe even showing them they're connected to a broader community. You're part of the Corey family, you're part of a family that comes from strong Filipino roots or African-American roots or, Nigerian roots or whatever it is. I think showing them that they're a part of a bigger picture is important in establishing a sense of self and a sense of belonging to community, because all of us want to feel that we belong and feel that we're important and a part of something bigger than ourselves. So I think that's one really important step, establishing a strong sense of self and belonging.
And that's done over and over again. It's never
over and over again.
It's rinse and repeat. I really like over and over. It has to be intentional. It's a mindset. I got to do this to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you can do it in different ways. I mean, even if you're engaging in family reunions where you're connecting with other family members and you're seeing and hearing the stories of other family members and seeing, where you are in the family tree, those types of things can be reinforcing too, especially if we're talking about a teen where you may not have done this early as a teenager. I know they may not want to come, but go ahead and pull them along, help them meet their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their grandma, et cetera, to really spend meaningful quality time and see that they're a sense of something larger than themselves.
A sense of something larger than themselves. All right, Doc, I interrupted you. Number 2, we're ready.
Okay. So number 2, I think family values are really important. And again, it's great if you can start this from very early on in their lives. So really being clear about what's important to the family. Is it honesty? Is it perseverance? Is it showing kindness to others? Is it, a sense of respect for self and a respect for others? And this can be, defined for your children. It can be discussed with your children, but really modeling it for your children. It's what's going to make a big difference. And so, for instance, with my kids, we definitely talk a lot about faith on a daily basis. I'll reinforce to them how important honesty is. And so maybe a way that I'll do it is if I see, say, for instance, my daughter drops some money on the floor. If my son comes behind her, picks it up and gives it back to her, I'm like, you know what? I like that. That was really honest of you. I like how you didn't keep it for yourself. you were able to live by our value of honesty. So that's just like a small example, but really modeling it. So for instance, say if you're in the grocery store, say someone cuts you off with their shopping cart, instead of, making a big fuss and, saying something that you shouldn't, just saying, you know what, that's okay. Hope you have a great day, and let your kids see you doing things like that, so that they're seeing that you're living what you're saying, not just saying it, in terms of the values that you want to exude.
And when you make the mistake of not exemplifying those values, you're quick to say you're human, you apologize, and you change.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Be vulnerable and honest and open with your children as well. Let them know I too make mistakes. Even if, so for instance, with my kids, say I might have gotten a little too upset of them over something that wasn't done, and I started yelling and all this, I'll come back later and say, you know what? Mommy made a mistake. I was too angry in the moment. I should have taken a pause and not yelled at you, but I'm sorry that I did. But at that point I will say, but what I wanted you to learn was X, Y, or Z, and really have that discussion with them. So I agree. Let them know we're human too. Let them know that we're striving to live by these principles and values that we're talking about, but show them that we too are fallible, make mistakes, but we can recover from it and do better next time.
Yeah, and we earn their respect for that. So that's
Absolutely.
big.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm excited. Number 3.
Number 3. So I think it's important that we have our children set goals. I think it's important that they feel capable and able to do things independently, and they feel that they can affect change. So even having them set small goals to start, it doesn't have to be anything huge, but even just making sure, their alarm is set on time in the morning, making sure that they're, washed up, dressed and everything, and downstairs by a certain time. It can be maybe making a decision on, maybe, and this could be for younger kids or something, what do you want to eat for dinner, or what movie do you want to watch with mommy today? You can definitely really bolster your kids' self-esteem by having them set small goals, figure out ways that they can accomplish them on their own, or if they're having trouble with it, give them some gentle nudging, maybe some suggestions, but ultimately letting them make the decision on their own, and then hoping them to see that either one, they were successful and able to accomplish the small goals, which of course builds their confidence, or having them talk with you about what worked, what didn't work, and figuring out a new way to approach it. And once they're able to accomplish the smaller goals, you can build on that, have them set larger and larger goals and more complex goals. And again, the confidence that they build from accomplishing the small ones really will spill over into their ability to accomplish the larger ones.
That's big. And I want us to sit in that a little bit, because sometimes there's a struggle with, oh, they don't need me anymore. And as parents, we want to kind of hold on to the dependency on us. And so we almost like sabotage the prospect of them making decisions for themselves. I think what you just said also applies to younger kids, even those who are not teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, helping them make independent decisions actually boosts their self-esteem. And that's something we should nurture and even do more of as they become teenagers. So
I agree. I agree. But you know what? I like that you brought that up about, we as parents kind of don't want to feel as if they don't need us anymore. But that's when we got to look at ourselves. Like, is this more for us or is this more for them? And what we're trying to do is create, confident, able-bodied, young adults, really, who can accomplish things on their own. So we want to be even, comfortable with letting go of the reins, giving them more independence, and in small increments where, if they're not quite ready or they, may fall, we're still there as a safety net for them. But again, encouraging them to build that muscle and decision-making muscle so that, and again, kind of leaning on the values that we've instilled in them, they're making good decisions based on the values that we've taught them from early.
Yeah, because we want our kids to do better than we.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we don't want them living with mama once they grow up.
It's not a sign of good motherhood, mothering. So we got to find balance. Got to help us. All right. Number 4, Doc, we're ready.
Number 4. And this is my last one. I think it's just really spending quality, undivided time and attention with your child each day. And I know we're all busy. And there's all things, there's kinds of things that are pulling at us. But I think spending at least 15 minutes with each one of your children each day is really important, because it shows them that you value them and that you're willing to make time in your schedule for them, which again goes a long way in terms of building their confidence as well. And so during that time, ideally it would be without screens, it would be without devices, without anything, just like one-on-one time. But if you can even just carve out the 15 minutes with your child, that's great. But like I said, ideally, no screens, no devices, no distractions, just one-on-one time to really connect with your child. Give them a chance to talk about what's on their mind. give them a safe space to express themselves, to bring up any concerns. And even if it goes silent a little bit, kind of sitting comfortably in that silence and allowing them to, express themselves, because there may be something they want to tell you, but they feel rushed or they feel like they're not sure how to tell you, but really giving them time and space and no judgment as well to express what they need to you can really make a difference in bolstering their confidence and self-esteem.
I think you were kind. You said 15 minutes. So, because some of us moms are like, oh, yeah.
Come on, out with it.
We need to do better. But you said 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It may feel like a short amount of time, but when we actually do what you said and just focus on them, we're not multitasking even in our thoughts, and we're present and we're listening to what they have to say and picking those key red flags, blue flags, whatever flags they're sending our way.
Yes.
We'll be surprised how much value we bring to their life and how much more like they feel more confident in themselves.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it also, opening up that space for them to really express themselves lets them know that what I have to say matters, how I feel matters. And hopefully it'll make them more likely to speak up, not just with you, but in other situations where they need to advocate for themselves or they need to make sure they're getting what they need. So I think that's really important to carve out time for that each day.
Awesome. And I have a comment from a Facebook user. I can't tell who it is. I'm sorry. It says, love this. And another one says, this is great. She's a doctor, Dr. Rubin. Hi, thank you for joining. I'm in Illinois and a pediatrician and always looking for more psychiatrists for my referral list. Great advice, Dr. Carey. So, Doc, thank you for what you do. Now, I have a trick question. So, how do we balance that? I love that you mentioned, values. I love that you mentioned, it's important for them to be able to improve their self-esteem so their outlook on life is better. Mm-hmm. But how do you balance that self-esteem versus arrogance? We don't want to breed, cocky, bratty kids.
Okay.
So, what would you say to that parent who's like, I don't know, this generation, they just, they don't know how to talk to people, they're cocky and blah, blah, blah. And we got to do better about balancing that. What would you say to that as far as the balance of, I want to teach self-esteem and self-worth, but I don't want to breed an arrogant person.
Right. So again, it kind of goes back to the definition of it. So self-esteem is really a confidence in yourself, your self-worth, and in your abilities. And it's not overestimating your abilities. Confidence and arrogance, not confidence. Arrogance rather is when you start to overestimate your abilities, or you think you're better than other people because you have certain abilities. So I think it kind of goes back to your values. Again, if important family values to you are respect of yourself and other people, then you're not going to think you're better than other people. If kindness is a value that's important to your family, then even if you are confident within who you are and what you can do, you're not going to act in an unkind way towards other people. So I think it really goes back to instilling your family values in your child and really modeling them and demonstrating them and discussing that with them so that they stay humble. And even, humility is an important value as well. Mm-hmm. And maybe, us as families need to make sure that we're discussing and modeling for our children on a regular basis. But those things I think will help to temper from going the arrogant way and kind of keeping them more on the confident side of things.
All right. Awesome. All right. Other questions. So I have a mom here who's like, yes, Doc, I see what you're saying. And a lot of these things I haven't done. And it's gotten to the point where my daughter is a prey at school. So we've moved school to school, and for whatever reason, she seems to be a target. Like, what can I do to help her? Yes, I'm going to start, but what can I do? What else can I do? I'm going to start having the conversations. I'm going to prioritize time with her. We're going to talk about goals. We'll set them. But is there anything else I can do to help my daughter navigate this season? Because for whatever reason, we're struggling. What would you say to that, Mom?
Okay. So that's a very common scenario. So, bullying is really out of control these days, and children are being targeted. And unfortunately, there are some families that have had to move from school to school. So the thing is, again, really talking with your child about speaking up for themselves. And if it's something that they feel that they can't accomplish on their own in terms of stopping the bullying or managing, an interaction with a particular child, asking for help. So I'll often encourage my kids and say, hey, if there's someone that's bothering you, first off, tell them to stop. Tell them you don't like what they're doing, So it's, again, trying to empower them to speak up for themselves. But if they feel that they can, or if they feel that that's not effective, then go to a teacher or a trusted adult that can help you. Now, I know in some instances there kids that feel like the teacher's not listening, or the teacher thinks I'm the problem, I'm the one that's getting in trouble, not the bully who started in the first place. But maybe even having the parent kind of step in and either talk with the teacher or elevate it to administration can be helpful as well. And again, depending on the situation, if the parent of the child being bullied is able to make positive contact with the parent of the child that is causing or doing the bullying, they may be able to talk it out or find some type of resolution there. But definitely, I would encourage first empowering the child to speak up for themselves first, say what they will accept, what they won't, and then also, seek help if they're not able to take care of the situation themselves. So either through the teacher, through another trusted adult, and then the parent getting involved to try to help to fix the situation for the child.
Awesome. I have one more question. So a parent is watching. Doc, all of these things are very, nice. They're good. But I'm dealing with teenagers.
Right.
They wouldn't even talk to me. I say, let's have, what's up? What's in your mind? They're like, huh? They grunt more than they use actual English words.
Right.
What would you say to that mom who's watching, who's a little frustrated? Like, I'm trying. What 2-3 tips you would say to them to encourage them today?
Sure. So I have a newly minted teenager myself. My son is 13 years old, and sometimes he can be very brief with what he has to say, or how was school today? I don't know. So what I'll do in those situations is I'll try to meet the child where they are, So if, they're into sports, or if they're into video games or whatever it is, just take some time and really engage them in what interests them. Spend some time doing what they enjoy doing. And you'll be surprised that they'll start to open up more. They'll be comfortable. Conversation will start to flow, and then you can really start to learn more about what's going on with them, and listen actively, attentively, and again, without judgment, and just let them say what's on their mind and ask good questions that kind of draw them out, open-ended questions that will have them answer more and more. And I think you'll learn a lot more about your child in doing so. So really meeting them where they are, doing something that they enjoy engaging in, taking an interest in that, and then letting the conversation flow from there really can start to open up and help you to understand more what's going on with your child.
I like what you said. You said, spend time doing what I put in capital letters, what they enjoy doing, not what you think they should enjoy doing.
That's true.
Really, really important, what they enjoy doing, even if you like, okay, all right. This is very good, Doc. I'm going to have to invite you back because we touched on some topics. And for those of you who are watching live or in replay, if there are questions you have that you want us to address, maybe on a different live, please post in a comment, or you can send to us, because I think these conversations are very important to be had. So, Doc, I have people who are watching who are like, man, this Dr. Maria Corey, I gotta get her on, come speak at an event. I got to meet her as a person. I got to send clients to her, send people who could benefit from her services. Doc, where could people find you?
Sure. Thank you for asking. Yes. So my website is the best way to reach me. It has all of my contact information. That's eliteexcellencemd.com. And it has all of my information, phone, email, ways you can reach me. Just so you know, so I do psychiatry in Maryland, DC, and Illinois, but definitely open for consultations throughout the nation, and also speaking engagements as well.
Awesome. Thank you for what you do. I know you're busy. I appreciate you coming here to share this very valuable information with us today. So thank you, Doc.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Tolu. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Remember, caring is sharing. Be sure to share this with those who could find this useful. And if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and a passionate family physician here in the Manchester, Texas area, I am T. Thank you so much, Doc.
You're so welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.